Hello? Hello? Huh? Is everybody here? How do I... Wait, filters. Uh, okay, so... Hello guys, sorry for ask Mike. I don't got a good mic. It's on my computer. So today, I'm gonna be watching YouTube videos because I'm nothing better to do. It's like freaking... ED2, bro. I look like hot shit. In my room. So... Alright, what should we watch? Living homeless now, right? I mean, it's quite fucked if you know. I mean, if you have a car, I'm gonna be just what the fuck? Uh, which way would do? Boy, I shit those guys. I remember hearing there's like this airport prices or some shit. Like, just pay 'em. Watch this one. Oh, a
You
streamer
want to file
watching
free?
another streamer watching a
Hit it.
streamer. Oh, hell no.
Nearly home. Just need more space. I feel like I'm suffocating.
God.
Oh no.
Alright chat, today we are reacting to a very interesting video and it is about Texas. Now, a lot of you guys might be thinking, why are we reacting to a video about Texas? Texas is a really good state and it's actually getting a lot better. And you're going to think
Alright.
about some cities like Houston,
Must be a summer.
Austin. We're going to see what they have to say. Texas Triangle.
Yeah, this is a different video.
This is Texas, with a population of
I know so many people from Texas.
around 32 million people. It's the second largest and one of the fastest
Like all the
growing
freaking
states in the
billionaires go down
US.
there.
But what many
Like,
people don't know is that most of its
very
population,
obvious.
economy, and growth are concentrated
I mean, is it? We all agree that Texas, the one saying in Texas is like, everything is bigger in Texas. Cause look at this shit. Look at this. Like that. What are you crossing? Like, what is that big land? Like, you're just like wasting way too much land right here. Like everything is bigger in Texas. I can't imagine a bunch of people that are like.
in one
Was it
specific
like an
region.
11-lane?
It's called the Texas Triangle,
highway.
formed by Dallas
Texas
and
Triangle.
Fort Worth in the
Dallas,
north,
Fort
Houston
Worth,
to the east, with
Houston,
Austin and San
San
Antonio
Antonio.
to the west. This region covers
I can imagine the freeways. I can imagine.
less
Do
than
they,
a
like, are,
third
like,
of
an
Texas's
extension?
land area. Yet it's home to over 70% of the state's population and an even larger share of its economic output. Now, these are still all separate
That's
cities
Houston.
with their own identities and economies,
Like most of like
but the gaps
freaking down
between them are
Vegas,
shrinking
like,
more and more
mountains.
every year. Development is filling in, highways are turning into continuous corridors of growth, and together the Texas Triangle is starting to function less like a collection of separate cities and more like one massive interconnected mega region. So how did this happen? Why did Texas end up concentrating so much of its growth into this triangle, instead of one dominant city or a single coast? To understand this, you have to go back to the mid-19th century. When Texas officially joined the United States in 1845, it had a population of only around 125,000 people, and most people lived in small towns and rural areas. And unlike older states such as Massachusetts and New York, where
This is where all the young
cities like Boston and New York City had already emerged as dominant urban centers, Texas never had that single overpowering geographic advantage that could naturally pull a majority of the states into one place. Instead, Texas urbanized during the railroad era, which led to the rise of multiple strategic cities, each strong in a different way. In the north, Dallas-Fort Worth emerged as a rail crossroads. Rail lines from the Midwest,
So,
the Great
like,
Plains, and the Southwest all
I remember, like, I was about to go to freaking Texas, and there's nothing in Dallas. I'm gonna say right now, if you ever go to Texas, there's nothing in Dallas. Nada.
converged here, turning it
Nothing.
into a center for trade, finance, and distribution, even without a major port.
Hey, I'm telling you, everything's bigger in Texas. Look at that goddamn road.
To the southeast, Houston
Right.
initially grew mainly due to its water access. The construction of the Houston Ship Channel in the early 20th century connected inland Texas directly to global shipping routes. That single project transformed Houston into one of the most important ports in the country, and later the energy capital of the US.
Did they like have like the Enron? You guys remember Enron? Like freaking that one energy company that had like a humongous scandal. Yeah, it was them, right? Yeah, it was. And they like take
Meanwhile,
place
San
in
Antonio and
Houston.
Austin
Or
developed
like
along
freaking.
older settlement routes.
I've
San
been
Antonio
to I've been to Houston. I've been to Houston and Austin.
capital gained political power, stability, and eventually a massive public university that would shape its future economy. For the latter half of the 19th century, these cities grew largely independently and served different parts of the state. This continued into the 20th century. In the year 1900, no city in Texas had even 60,000 people, and the state as a whole grew steadily from around 3 million
Was
to
it its own
6.4 million by 1940. But this is also around the time where things really started to change. After World War II, Texas, like most other states in the South and West,
Hello?
embraced the automobile heavily. The construction of the interstate highway system fundamentally
So from my brain, so El Paso, Fort Worth, Dallas, Houston. I don't know.
reshaped the state.
Porsche.
I-35 connected Dallas-Fort Worth to Austin and San Antonio.
So this one
I-45
goes down
linked
to
Dallas
Monterrey?
directly to Houston. I-10 tied Houston and San
So
Antonio
I-13
into a
goes down to
larger
Monterrey?
east-west corridor.
Some shit?
What had once been long, slow journeys between cities became routine drives. At the same time, air conditioning made the South more livable, and Texas began receiving a surge of new residents, nearly doubling its population between 1940 and 1970.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just
Oh my-
by thinking about it. Meet Base
Okay.
44, a complete
In just
Wait, so like I remember hearing what the air conditioning was the only reason why the South actually freaking grew. For example, like in California, like just one minute. Like freaking Arizona, all the like freaking desert towns only existed because of the air conditioning. Cause like who wants to be living in a room with no AC when it's like 120 outside?
a few decades,
That's
cities like
bullshit.
Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio had become some of the largest in the country.
Whatever happened?
These cities also developed very differently from older urban centers that grew before the automobile. Land was abundant, land use regulations were relatively permissive, and growth happened outward rather than upward. Instead of concentrating development into dense urban cores, Texas allowed
really?
low-density suburbs to spread across vast areas. As a result, the main metro areas became massive in size. For example, Dallas and Fort Worth effectively merged together into one metroplex back in the 80s, and now covers approximately 9,300 square miles, making it larger than the entire state of New Jersey. Cities only work because of invisible systems, power grids, water pipes, data networks. You don't always think about them until something breaks. And the internet works the same way. That is why today's video is sponsored.
Nope.
Can switch my location, has thousands automatically. If you want a discount on a 2-year plan plus 4 and major corporate investments. This added a new dimension to the triangle, a high-growth knowledge economy positioned directly between Dallas-Fort Worth and San Antonio. Today, Texas has 5 of the top 15 most populated cities in the country, and all of them are located inside the triangle. And what's interesting is that none of them truly dominate. While Houston is by far the largest if we measure by city proper, at 2.4 million people, Dallas-Fort Worth is the largest metro area at 8.3 million. It just shows that each city is important in its own way, and that they also complement each other. If you would draw a line connecting Dallas-Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, and Austin, you're linking a region of more than 20 million people, larger than the population of most countries. You're connecting one of the world's largest energy capitals, a booming tech hub, major military installations, multiple international airports, and some of the fastest growing suburban counties in the nation. And I'm not saying that this region is literally growing together into one massive city, but the space between them is no longer empty. Along I-35, development now stretches almost continuously from San Antonio through Austin and toward Dallas-Fort Worth, with towns like New Braunfels, San Marcos growing rapidly, increasingly tied into the larger urban economies around them. In fact, San Antonio and Austin are projected to soon merge into their own mega region and reach a population of 8.3 million by 2050, as many people as Dallas-Fort Worth has today. And between Austin and Fort Worth, there's Temple, which grew from 82,799 residents in 2020 to over 100,000 by 2026, an increase of 24.4%. Waco is also growing at a steady pace. Additionally, 8 out of the top 10 fastest growing cities in the US are located in either the Houston or Dallas-Fort Worth metro areas. And
Idaho? Who lives in Idaho? Oh god, these people are like...
they continue to expand in all directions with new suburban developments and logistics centers. As the cities within the triangle continue to grow, the way the state functions as a whole is beginning to shift. For example, many companies now distribute their operations across multiple cities, rather than concentrating everything in one place. They might place headquarters in Austin like Tesla and Oracle, energy operations in Houston, and corporate offices, finance, and logistics in Dallas and Fort Worth, all within a few hours of each other. There's also the transportation angle. Over 175,000 people already travel daily between the major metros, heavily relying on the I-35 and I-45. But as this internal network becomes more integrated, congestion worsens and the pressure to physically connect them more efficiently has only grown. In the early 2010s, Texas Central Railway proposed a 240-mile high-speed rail line between Houston and Dallas. Modeled after Japan's Shinkansen system, the train would travel at speeds of up to 200 miles per hour, cutting travel time between the two cities to about 90 minutes. While the project has recently been deemed shovel-ready, construction hasn't yet started due to political opposition, land disputes, and funding challenges. We have also seen similar proposals for
Skyscanner searches billions of prices to find you epic travel deals.
Man, that gas is down low, and I just filled it up. It's all good. We gonna fill it up again and again and again. How many times? I can't even complain, because one day I'm gonna have that bitch right there. Auto diesel.
America's biggest airport wasn't built near a city, not near a coastline,
is it Denver?
not near a
Guys.
major trade route. It was built in the middle of an empty prairie, 25 miles from the city it was supposed to serve.
Ah, don't go on Temu, guys. I'm
And
not.
when
No,
construction
that's that
began, nobody
Chinese
could
bullshit.
explain
I
why
ain't
it was
shut the
costing
fuck up.
3 times the budget, why the
I
machines
mean,
designed to handle luggage were destroying it instead, and why one of the world's largest airports was bleeding $1.1 million every single day before a single passenger ever walked through the door. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't just incompetence. It was a chain of political bets, corporate ultimatums, and engineering fantasies that somehow, against all logic, turned Denver into one of the busiest airports on the planet. This is how that happened. In 1994, journalists were invited to watch the future of air travel. What they saw instead was luggage flying off conveyor belts, clothes scattered across the floor, suitcases being physically torn apart by a machine that had cost nearly $200 million to build. The opening was cancelled. The city was hemorrhaging $1.1 million a day on an airport that couldn't open. There's an airport in the United States that's twice the size of Manhattan. It opened 16 months late, $2 billion over budget, with a baggage system so broken that machines were destroying the luggage instead of sorting it. Airlines refused to move there. Taxpayers were furious. The press called it a field of dreams in a barren field. And today, one of United Airlines' largest hubs, rivaling Chicago O'Hare. How does an airport go from the most embarrassing construction disaster in American history to the most important aviation hub in the country? Let's go back to the early 1980s. Denver was growing fast. Its old airport, Stapleton International, was already a key hub for United Airlines and Continental. By the 1960s, Stapleton was already the 6th busiest airport in the entire United States. But Stapleton had a fundamental design flaw that no amount of money could fix. Its runways were too close together. When bad weather hit, and in Colorado bad weather hits often, planes couldn't land in parallel. Delays cascaded across the entire national network. One snowstorm in Denver could disrupt flights from New York to Los Angeles. The FAA was frustrated, airlines were frustrated, passengers were furious, and Stapleton was running out of physical room to grow. By 1983, Denver's Regional Council had spent 3 years studying the problem. Their conclusion was simple, if uncomfortable. Denver needed...
So, Denver. Hmm. I remember hearing that, like, freaking Denver had, like, humongous runways because it's located a mile high, while, like, freaking Mexico City is much higher, but they don't have 2 runways. So that got me wondering, do they really need all that runway? I mean, it kind of makes sense because they have, like, domestic networks. You gotta, like, go in and go out. It's like a hub. Also, Mexico City. But Mexico City has more routes. Wait, 1 minute. Okay, Google. What was you gonna say again? Okay, Google. Which is more busier, Denver or Mexico City Airport? Okay, Google. Which is more busy, Denver?
Of course I am. I'm always here for you whenever you need me. And I have a feeling this may be a good time to do something fun, am I right?
What? Are you guys hearing this?
Is this a good time to do something fun?
What are you talking about?
Is this a good time to do something fun?
Google, shut the fuck up. Google. Okay, Google. Okay, Google. I'm asking you a certain question. Which is more busier by passenger volume, Mexico City or Denver?
Sorry, I didn't understand that. Just tell me if you need help with anything, or if this is a good time to have fun.
Are you guys hearing this? Hold up. Google. Shut the fuck.
Nothing's playing right now.
Guys,
a
are you
completely
hearing this?
new
My
airport.
Google
Not an
freaking-
expansion, not a
Okay,
renovation, a replacement. That same year, Federico Pena was elected mayor
Be
of
quiet.
Denver. He had campaigned on expanding Stapleton using nearby Rocky
Wait,
Mountain
wait. Can you call Google Home names? Okay. Let me call it clankers. Guys, that was the most out of pocket thing, bro. What do you mean just have fun? What?
Arsenal land to add capacity, but there was an immediate problem. Adams County, the neighbouring county where the Arsenal sat, threatened to sue over noise concerns. The expansion plan was dead before it started. So Pena pivoted. Instead of fighting Adams County, he did something politically counterintuitive. He cut them a deal. He proposed that Denver annex 54 square miles of Adams County land, not adjacent to Stapleton, but further out, deep in the prairie, 24 miles northeast of downtown. The deal was simple. Adams County leaders would support the annexation vote in exchange for keeping the new airport away
Is it
from
like
their
30 minutes
populated
outside the
areas. In 1988, Adams County voters said yes. Denver now owned 54 square miles of nothing. Just flat, empty, high-altitude plains more than a mile above sea level, with the Rocky Mountains visible in the distance. The original plan approved by Denver voters in 1989 was a $1.9 billion airport. 12 more gates than Stapleton. Modern. Functional. Done by October 1993. That number, $1.9 billion, is the most important figure in this entire story, because it was wrong from the very start, and everyone involved was about to find out exactly how wrong. Here is something that does not get talked about enough when people discuss Denver Airport. The entire project, the scope, the cost, the technology, was fundamentally shaped by one airline's demands: United Airlines. United had been Stapleton's dominant carrier for decades. When the new airport was announced, United's initial position was blunt: we do not want to move. The new airport was further from Denver's population. Access was more complicated. United dug in. Without United, the new airport was financially unviable. The bonds that financed construction depended on airline fee revenue. No United, no revenue, no bonds, no airport. The city blinked. Mayor Wellington Webb, who had inherited this mega project when he took office in 1991, needed to close a deal with United. And United had one non-negotiable condition: a fully automated baggage system.
How do you get a brand new AC system in SoCal from just $125 per month or 0% financing?
Not a conventional belt and cart operation. United wanted something that had
Dang,
never been built at this scale before. A system that would automatically route every bag from every gate in every concourse to the correct carousel without human intervention. The idea was not insane. Airports had experimented with automation. It was theoretically faster, cheaper in the long run, and could give United a competitive edge in connection times. The city agreed. BAE Automated Systems was brought in to design and build it. The original contract was $193 million. The system was extraordinary on paper: 26 miles of underground track, over 4,000 individual telecarts, little robotic vehicles running at up to 19 miles per hour, each one programmed to pick up a bag at one gate and deliver it to the right carousel across 3 concourses simultaneously. For context, this was 1992. The internet barely existed. The complexity of coordinating thousands of moving robots.
Let me do something. Okay, let's get back on the video.
through miles of underground tunnels in
Wait, did it came out in like 1995? Is that, or am I just really autistic?
real time,
So,
managing thousands of bags across hundreds of flights was unlike anything the industry had attempted. But the chaos around Denver's airport produced something else as well: myths. Because while the project was collapsing under delays, cost overruns, and engineering failures, people began noticing strange details. There were miles of underground tunnels beneath the airport, massive ventilation systems, murals inside the terminal showing apocalyptic scenes of war, masks, and destruction. And outside the terminal stood a gigantic blue horse statue with glowing red eyes, so unsettling that locals quickly gave it a nickname: Blucifer. Before long, conspiracy theories started spreading. Some claimed the tunnels were secretly connected to a government bunker. Others said the airport was designed as a headquarters for a future New World Order. There were even rumors that Denver International Airport had been built as a hidden base for global elites in case of some future catastrophe. Of course, there is a far simpler explanation. Large airports often...
hold up, guys. Guys. Should I goon on stream? You know what? They gave me an idea. Yeah, let's goon on stream. Next video.
require huge underground infrastructure, fuel lines, maintenance tunnels, baggage systems, ventilation networks. Denver's airport simply built a lot of it and then made it visible.
This is so isolated.
And the strange murals, they were commissioned public art meant to represent themes like peace.
I hate those airports where they're like really far away from the city. It's like freaking what's an airport that's far away? Please think, please think, please think. Denver or some shit, okay? This is like freaking very far away, so like if we want to explore the city, if you have like a 3-hour layover, just get inside.
Environmental recovery and cultural diversity. But when a project costs billions more than expected, opens more than a year late, and contains miles of mysterious tunnels beneath the ground, people start imagining stories. In reality, Denver International Airport did not hide a secret government bunker. It just hid one of the most expensive airport construction disasters in American history.
You know Green Day, and you know the Make-A-Wish Foundation, but there's something you might not know. When Green Day outgrew their...
But the contract was signed.
Falling off again. Let me see what it's
The clock was running, and the problems were already beginning. The original airport opening date was October the 29th, 1993. It was delayed first to December 1993, then to March 1994, then to May 1994. Each delay cost money. The airport was essentially a finished building, running its systems, paying its debt service, maintaining its facilities, with no revenue coming in. $1.1 million per day. That is what the empty airport was costing Denver taxpayers. In April 1994, city officials decided to show the world that the baggage system was ready. They invited a group of journalists to watch a live demonstration. What happened next became one of the most embarrassing moments in American infrastructure history. Clothes and personal items were strewn across the floor beneath the system's tracks. Telecarts were launching luggage off their platforms. Bags were being physically ripped apart by the machinery. The software tasked with coordinating thousands of individual robots was crashing. The mayor cancelled the May opening on the spot. What had gone wrong? Everything, simultaneously. The software was trying to track tens of thousands of status updates per second. The physical infrastructure, the miles of track and the automated switches had tolerances that worked in a test environment but failed at scale. The telecarts were too aggressive on turns. Bags tipped, got caught, the whole system jammed. BAE Systems went back to work month after month. The city kept bleeding $1.1 million every day. Finally, a compromise was reached. United Airlines would get its automated system in its own concourse. The rest of the airport would use a conventional and far simpler backup baggage system that had been quietly built in parallel. On February the 28th, 1995, 16 months behind schedule, Denver International Airport finally opened. The final cost was $4.8 billion. That is the $1.9 billion that voters approved, and then nearly $3 billion more. In today's money, the overrun alone is approximately $3.7 billion. The baggage system that forced all of this had its cost balloon from $193 million to well over $400 million, and it still did not work properly across the whole airport. And here is the darkest part of the story. In June 2005, 10 years after opening, United Airlines quietly shut the automated baggage system down entirely. It was replaced by conventional baggage handlers. That system had delayed the airport 16 months, cost hundreds of millions of dollars in overruns, and forced the city into a financial crisis. It was scrapped. All those miles of underground track, all those telecarts, the most ambitious baggage system ever attempted in North America. Mothballed, the $1.1 million per day during the delay, the overruns, the political fallout, all of it for a system that lasted exactly a decade before being abandoned. But the financial wounds didn't stop at opening day. Airports don't make money just by existing. They make money by attracting airlines who pay gate fees, landing fees, and facility charges. The more airlines, the more competition, the lower the fares, and the more passengers. Denver's problem was structural. The airport had been built partly on debt. That debt had to be repaid, and the only way to repay it was to charge airlines fees that were, frankly, some of the highest in the country. The result? Airlines stayed away. Southwest Airlines, the nation's biggest low-cost carrier and exactly the kind of competition Denver consumers wanted, refused to operate at DEN for 11 years. Their calculation was simple. Denver's fees were too high. Their business model ran on lean costs. Denver didn't fit. So from 1995 to 2006, Denver's travelers had no low-cost option. United dominated. Fares stayed high. The city that had built America's most ambitious airport couldn't attract the one airline that would have driven passenger growth faster than anything else. Southwest finally entered Denver in January 2006 with just 13 daily flights. Within years, it was the airport's second largest carrier. Today, Southwest operates 40 gates at Denver, its largest single airport operation anywhere in the world. But think about what Denver left on the table for those 11 years. Lower fares, higher passenger volumes, more routes, more economic activity. All of it delayed by a decade because the airport's debt structure made it too expensive for the airline that would have served Denver's travelers best. This is what over-budget mega projects actually cost. Not just the construction overruns, the decade of suppressed competition that follows. You would think that after the baggage system catastrophe, after 16 months of delays, $2 billion in overruns, and 10 years of monopoly-level fares, Denver Airport would have developed a pathological caution about large construction projects. You would be wrong. In 2018, the airport launched a major renovation of its main terminal, called the Great Hall Project. The goal was to modernize the terminal, move security checkpoints, expand retail, and create a more functional passenger experience. The contract was $1.8 billion, awarded to a private development consortium. By 2019, the project was already in chaos. Cost overruns, construction defects. The city had hired an independent contractor to review the work and fired them when they found problems. Whistleblowers emerged. The project was riddled with management conflicts, disputed change orders, and safety concerns. In August 2019, just over a year into construction, Denver terminated the $1.8 billion contract entirely. The airport was now stuck with a half-renovated terminal, a terminated contractor demanding hundreds of millions of dollars in compensation, and no clear path to completion. By 2025, the Denver Auditor's Office published a damning report. The Great Hall project was still marred by mismanagement. The total renovation cost had ballooned to over $2 billion. The project, originally scheduled to complete by 2021, was now projected to finish in 2027. Sound familiar? The baggage system began as a $193 million contract, grew to a final cost of more than $400 million, and was abandoned after 10 years. The Great Hall began with a $1.8 billion contract, crossed $2 billion in total costs, was terminated in the first year, and remained unfinished nearly a decade later. Denver Airport has a pattern, and the pattern is expensive.
Are you sure your tax expert is right for you? Switch to TurboTax Full Service. You'll be matched with a TurboTax expert and get real-time updates on their progress, and you get your best outcome guaranteed. Switch to TurboTax Full Service.
We pretty much take it all. Fridges and dishwashers and dressers, drawers, couches, mattresses, bed frames, concrete, things like that. Same day notice or 3 weeks in advance.
That's what you get when you hire professionals. It's good to know you're making a difference. We found some paper and cardboard out.
And yet, here is what makes Denver Airport one of the most fascinating case studies in aviation history. Despite everything, the $2 billion overrun, the baggage catastrophe, the Southwest boycott, the Great Hall disaster, Denver International Airport has become, by almost every meaningful metric, exactly what its original architects promised. Let's talk about what Denver is today. 53 square miles. That is the size of the airport, twice the size of Manhattan. The largest airport by land area in the United States, the second largest in the world behind only King Fahd International Airport in Saudi Arabia. 6 runways, including runway 16 right, 34 left at 16,000 feet, the longest public use runway in North America, the 5th longest in the world. Long enough to take off a fully loaded Airbus A380 or Boeing 747-8 in Denver's high-altitude, hot conditions, where thinner air reduces engine performance and requires significantly more runway than at sea level. This is why the Prairie location, the decision that seemed absurd in 1988, was actually the only logical choice. You cannot build a 16,000-foot runway adjacent to a city. You cannot build 6 parallel runways on 7 square miles of urban land. The Prairie gave Denver room that no city airport could ever have. In 2025, Denver set an all-time passenger record, 82.4 million passengers. For context, that is more passengers in 1 year than the entire population of Germany. It is now the largest hub for United Airlines, surpassing Chicago O'Hare in 2024. The midpoint location that drove the original airport decision still holds true. Denver sits at the geographic center of the continental United States. For United's hub and spoke network, there is no more efficient connecting point in the country. Southwest operates its largest gate count at Denver, 40 gates. The same airline that refused to come for 11 years now depends on Denver more than any other airport. The airport contributes $47.2 billion annually.
Am I still streaming? I can imagine disaster. I can imagine disaster.